Good evening, traders. This is Taylor from thetradinganalyst.com, and I've gotten a lot of chart requests tonight, so I'm going to kind of move through a little bit quicker than normal here, as I want to cover most of these stocks that you guys have requested. So most of these stocks I'm going to maybe have looked at before, so there's going to be some annotations already on them. As you can see, the first one is PTX that someone has requested here, and I've already obviously looked at this one, but I'm not coming prepared with analysis on every single one. So the idea is for you to see my thought process and my analysis live in real time, so you can get a better feel for what I look for on particular stocks. So let's get into it. The first one here again is PTX. And PTX, first thing I'm noticing here is we've got an uptrend. You can see that it began here in May, got a touch here, right there, here's a touch, and we're grinding up against it right here. We've also got a really tight range here, tight Bollinger Bands. You can see here's the upper Bollinger Band, here's the lower Bollinger Band, and that really just shows you that we've been in a tight range. So why does that matter? It matters because normally when you have a really tight range for a stock, it's going to see a bigger move outside of that range eventually. So it's building up energy for that next move. So bulls, you want to see this uptrend line hold. You don't want it to break below about 55 cents. And you also want to see it break above this 65 cents. If we break over 65 cents, we're going to most likely come up here and test these highs up here. And I'll just go ahead and I'll draw it up here for you, right around 87 cents. You can see that this was the highest close right there, got rejected up here, and right here. So that's going to be the next resistance there if we break over 65 cents. If we break below the below the uptrend line, more than likely we're going to come down and we're going to at least test these lows right there at about 45 cents. You can see that this was a bounce zone right there and right there. So that's what you want to look for on PTX. Next, let's take a look at IAG. That's the next chart request. And IAG, so perfect example here of a stock coming out of a tight range. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw this box right here. You can see it was trading in this box, really tight range, and then we broke outside of this box right here. So more than likely, IAG is going to see lower prices here in the near term. Just keep in mind we have the 200-day moving average right here, which we're still above, and that may act as support as well. But short term, definitely thinking that IAG is going to be heading down in the short term. Let's go to the next chart, BMY. Alright, so BMY, you can see right here, I had it trading in this box. I'm going to delete this so you can see it a little better. It was trading in this box. I'm going to delete these lines so we can just kind of get a cleaner look at this. Okay, so BMY, we were trading in this box, broke below the box, and as you can see, and I'm just going to extend this right there. So see how we came? We were trading in this box, we broke outside of this box right here. You can see that we tried to trade back up to this box, but we closed below this resistance. So not a great looking stock right here for BMY, and I'd be concerned as long as it stays below this level here, this 55.20 level approximately, that's going to be a concern here. Another thing here, if you look at the bigger picture, you can see that this is a big support, $58, got a bounce many times. Here we are over here, again over here, and we finally broke below that level right here. Okay, so we broke below a significant level, so now that's going to be a big time resistance here for BMY. Not a great looking stock, not something that I'm personally interested in. Let's look at AROC. All right, let's see what we can see on AROC. It's a decent uptrend here. There's a couple touches, here's a couple touches, and as you can see, a few touches right there. So that's the main thing that I'm seeing here on the daily chart. Let's see if I can see anything on the weekly time frame. Pretty much the same thing. Slightly concerned here with this pattern. Looks like a rising wedge pattern, but remember, and rising wedge patterns are bearish if they break the lower trend line. Okay, but just remember that it's not bearish unless it actually breaks that trend line. Okay, and this is a counter trend pattern, which tend to not work out as often as with the trend pattern. So just kind of wanted to point that out. See how it's wide right here, and then it gets narrower and narrower and narrower. That's pretty much what a rising wedge or a falling wedge looks like. So, but just keep in mind, it's a counter trend pattern, and you also have what I like to look for on these falling wedges or rising wedges are divergences on the indicators. So an easy one is MACD right here. This is the MACD. And we have MACD above the signal line right here on the daily time frame. And then if you noticed here on the weekly time frame, it's above the signal line as well. So not really my favorite, rising wedge pattern. Just kind of wanted to point that out for educational purposes. All right, let's look at another chart. ETRM. All right, so ETRM, this is a penny stock, not really that interested in charting this. As you can see, we've had a downtrend, massive downtrend. It's trading up here at $16, $20 up here, and now we're at 12 cents. And one thing I want to point out here is this big uptick in volume. Okay, you can see a big uptick in volume that usually marks either tops or bottoms, and this is obviously not a top because we've been in a downtrend here. So it could potentially be a bottom here, but again, it's a penny stock. I don't really see anything of note here that would make me want to buy this stock. If we broke over this range, over 19 cents, then we could potentially see a nice run. But other than that, nothing here. So there's that little downtrend line that we can draw. Let's see if I can extend it a little bit. Okay, so not really. So there's that downtrend. If we break over about 19 cents, then we could potentially see a nice move to the upside. But just be aware, this is a stock that has been in a downtrend forever. And while we do have, a lot of volume here at the bottom, which do typically mark tops and bottoms, you still need price to confirm. Okay. All right. Next, let's take a look at NMR. All right, NMR. I'm going to look at the weekly time frame. All right, so one thing I'm seeing down here on the weekly time frame, decent support down here at about $3 right here. And then resistance I'm seeing is right around 530. You can see that it was support right here. right here, and then we broke through it right there, tested it, and then we broke down. So that's a level right there. Yeah, now only, 2 touches here on this downtrend line. Really want to see 3 touches in order to make it a really good downtrend line. So not really seeing much for this stock here. So I'm just going to leave it as a no touch. Next, let's take a look at CBK. And this is important to note here, okay? So I'm looking at this stock. I don't see anything of note. So I'm not going to say whether I think it's bullish or bearish, because to me it looks like crap in either direction. I can't really get any kind of a feel for it in either direction. It's very gappy. It's very gappy. The volume is really low on it. This day that I'm picking right here has 95,000 shares traded. It's a very low volume stock. So that's another thing here, is that when you get low volume stocks, they don't really move like other stocks do. Apple, Microsoft, all these large cap names have billions of dollars flowing in and out of it, so they move very clean, okay? When you have a low volume stock, you can really manipulate the movement in the stock with, $100,000, okay? So that's any small guy can, jump this stock up to $5 if they wanted to with a couple $100,000. So that's not the kind of stock that you really want to be using technical analysis on. All right, next let's look at CBK. So first thing I'm seeing here is downtrend right here, and then resistance right about here. So that's going to be a key area for CBK. So we've got this downtrend line right here, and look at how clean this downtrend line began here, touch here, touch here, touch here, touch here. Perfect touches too, right on the line. All right, so it's really respecting this angle. The 200-day moving average is right around there as well. You can see that red line. And this 185 more than likely is going to be a good shorting area between 185 and $2, because it may want to flash up here to fill that little gap right there. So that's going to be resistance, and then we're right at support as well. So you can see that this 130-ish area is a support. You can see that it bounced a couple times right there, and then over here, that's exactly where we bounced. Below that, we've got support right around $1. Okay, right around $1. You can see that it bounced a couple times right there. So $1, 130, and then this big level up here between 185 and $2 is going to be really that big level that you want to pay attention to. All right, next let's take a look at, let's choose CRBP. All right, CRBP. Okay, so looks like I have looked at this stock before. As you can see, we've got a pretty decent uptrend. There's a touch, there's a touch, here's a touch, and just for educational purposes, we don't like to hindsight trade, but just so you can learn what kind of setups here do really well. So we've got this flat bottom here, and then we've got these lower highs being made, and we were squeezing really hard, sideways trading for about 2 months here, sideways. We finally broke over this downtrend line and over these highs right here, and you can see what kind of move we got from that. When you have a stock that compresses like this and trades sideways for a while, it's building up energy for its next move, okay? It's building up energy. The big boys are loading. within this range, and then once they're done loading, they let it go, and here you go, that's what happens. So as far as this stock, let's look at the weekly time frame. Yeah, so weekly time frame, pretty similar here. You just want to focus on this uptrend line, and I'm going to extend this out. This uptrend line and this support down here at 425. You can see there was resistance here, here, right there, right here for 2 weeks, and then we broke over it right here. So a retest of that would line up perfectly with this uptrend line right there. More than likely gets a bounce. Let's look at the next stock, CBDS. Alright, so weekly time frame. Since we're on here, I might as well just draw this up here. So we've got resistance up here at $29. I know that's, double the price that we're at right now, but that's okay. So $29, that's going to be resistance. I'm going to go to the daily time frame. See if I can see anything. So not seeing anything too clean right here. We've only got 2 touches on this uptrend line, so I'm not even going to draw it. So right around, and again, this is not super clean here, but we do have about 1450 is definitely a level here. You can see that we got rejected here, here, right here, and then we broke over it right here. You can see we broke up, came back down, bounced from that level right here off of that retest of 1450. And you can see right here, this is the volume by price bar right here. And what volume by price is exactly what it says, volume by price. These bars down here are volume by time. Okay, so normally people just refer to it as volume. Okay, but there's another way to look at volume, and that is over here on the side. There's also volume profile, market profile. It's the same thing pretty much. So, and what that means is volume at a particular price. And what does that mean? Well, if you are above that level, and there's a big area of volume by price or volume profile, then that's going to be support. Okay, we broke over this heavy volume area, and now it's support. So if we were below it, if we were down here, and we were below this big volume by price bar, that would be resistance. Okay, now we're above it, so that's going to be heavy support. Okay, you can see that it's the biggest volume by price bar on the entire chart right here. You can see that if we break higher, there's not much volume by price or resistance in this area. Okay, and when we break above $18, okay, 18 to 29 pretty much has no resistance. And why is that? That's because we pretty much went straight down right here. Okay, straight down, no real support was created, or I'm sorry, no real resistance was created. Okay, so right here we traded sideways in this area, sideways in this area, again right here, congesting and making that high volume area. Okay, so I'm going to move on. CBDS. Oh, did I get that stock right? CBDS. Well, I don't have CBDS. Maybe you got it wrong, but I can't find it. So Netflix is the next one we're going to look at. Netflix, I do like here. This is one that I am actually looking for longs here, and I'm not going to discuss the details of the trade because we do have paying members that are paying for those picks here, but this does look like a really nice stock here. We broke over this downtrend line right here, and we also broke over this resistance right here, which is bullish, and we did so on a big uptick in volume. You can see the past few days, big uptick in volume. We also broke over the 200-day moving average right here, and we have next resistance is up here at about $108. There's a gap to fill right there. Overall, a very nice looking chart. And next, let's take a look at AUPH. So AUPH is one that I have looked at, but not in a while. But you can see how drawing these trend lines and keeping them extended, just like we do right here. Okay, this is important. This is a pretty decent trend line. Bounced here, right here. We broke back below it, and look at, we're retesting it right here. And see the upper wicks here, these upper candles that are running into resistance right there. So definitely something to note right there for this stock. Other than that, not seeing a ton of opportunity here. This is a very low volume stock. You know, I'm just putting my cursor over one day, and you can see over to the left side there's a box, and it shows the red writing says volume 35K. So 35K volume on a $2 stock over here, you know, that's nothing. So again, low volume stock, not really a good one to be using technical analysis on. All right, let's look at AMD. That's the other thing. You know, some people are going to watch this video and they're going to be like, "Oh, you can't use technical analysis on it. Technical analysis must be bullshit." Well, that's not true. Just, you know, it's a tool to use when you can use it, and when you can use it, it's great. But you know, I can't look at every single stock and tell you exactly where it's going to go. I can look at a few stocks in the entire market and give you a pretty good idea of where it's going to go, but I can't look at every single stock and tell you exactly where it's going to go. Okay, so AMD, this is a big one here. We broke below this trend line right here, and now we're coming back up and we're retesting this area right here. Okay, so this could be a potential rejection zone. Okay, it could be. All right, and this is a pretty steep trend line, so I'm not putting a ton of weight on it. And why does the steepness of this chart matter? Well, it matters because, you know, even the strongest, most bullish stocks ever do not just go up in a straight line like this. This is a very steep line. Maybe if the trend line was maybe this angle, you know, more of a 90-degree angle, then we can put some more emphasis on it. But, you know, because it's so steep, you know, it's not a surprise that it's not keeping up this angle. So, but it is something to note. So we do have a trend line break, and we do have resistance right here at about 705, which is exactly where we ran into. So we could be seeing a little bit of downside here. If it breaks, if it holds over this level, the next resistance is going to be right around about 780. So if we close over 780, then we can pretty much disregard any kind of weakness here, and it's most likely going to continue higher. But just be aware of those couple of things here, the resistance right there, as well as the trend line break. And we're going to take a look at the next stock, ZGNX. All right, so ZGNX, I'm going to clean this up a bit. Okay, so this has a decent look to it. Broke over this downtrend line. You can see rejections here, 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 right there, right there. Broke over it right here, retested it right here, bounced, and then we're right up here near a key area. The nearest support I see is right around here, about 990, and that's great because it lines up perfectly with the 200-day moving average. So if you're bullish on this stock, you want to see about 990 hold on a closing basis. If it gets down there, more than likely sees a bounce, and then above $11, that next resistance is going to be about $13 from these previous lows right there. All right, next we're going to take a look at FCX. All right, so plenty of levels here. So really the main levels I'm seeing here for FCX are about 890 and then up here at 1408. So you can see it got rejected there, right there, almost there a couple times. But overall, we're pretty much just trading sideways here. Not something I'm really interested in. Doesn't really have a very clean pattern here. But overall, it looks okay. And it looks more bullish than it does bearish here, just because we're hanging out above this 200-day moving average. But if we do break below that, as well as this 890 level, that's going to be concerning for me personally, and I'm not really going to be that interested in trading it on the long side. All right, next let's take a look at UBS. So UBS clearly in a downtrend. So you can see that right here. Starts here, touch here, right here, there, right there. It would be constructive, very constructive, if we broke over this downtrend line and over the 200-day moving average. So look for that on the bull side. On the bear side, look for a rejection at that downtrend line, okay? And then we've got, seeing a pretty decent level here for resistance between, $14.50 and $15. You can see that it was support right here, 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 and then right there. So break over this $14.50 as well as the downtrend line and the 200-day moving average would be the signal here for me that UBS would be breaking to the upside. HRZN. All right, HRZN, if you've been listening to all the videos here, you can see that we clearly have a lot of resistance up here. You can see a lot of sideways trading here. And just another way of looking at that is this large volume by price bar right there and right here. So we've got a lot of resistance in this area. So here it is right there at about 1430, and then between 1430 and about 1330 as well. So a lot of resistance in this area. And then support, I'm seeing right around here. The next nearest bigger support is right around $12. You can see that it was rejected here as resistance, right here, resistance, and then we finally broke over it right here, so now that's going to be support. Okay, so if we break down below this 1330, this next area is going to be about $12. You can see that this is the next biggest volume by price bar right there. Okay, and that matches up also perfectly with the 200-day moving average, which is sloping upwards into that $12 range as well. BMY, we already covered that. ASPU. All right, ASPU. First thing I'm seeing here is a ton of resistance just below 650 or so. You can see a lot of volume by price, You see a lot of rejections here. I'm sorry, bounces at this level. So it was one support. We broke through it, tried to break back up here, and got rejected. Retested it, rejected. Again right here. Look at this. Perfect right here. I bet you everyone got all bulled up right here on this day, only for it to just get rejected right here at this previous support level right there. And that was a great looking short right there. Another thing that I'm seeing right here is a decent uptrend line right here. Here's a touch, there's a touch, here's a touch. So look for that. And that lines up okay with the 200-day moving average as well. So that could act as support. If we break back down below here, look for a bounce in the short term against that uptrend line and the 200-day moving average. All right, let's look at EPE. So EPE, clearly in a downtrend here, started here, right there. There's a touch, here's a touch, and we're also below the 200-day moving average. So got a lot of resistance above us. And nearest support I'm seeing right around 350. You can see that we bounced right there, right here, and right there as well. So that support resistance is right around $5. We are in a downtrend. If we break over this $5 mark and over the 200-day moving average, then we can see some upside movement. Until then, we are in a downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. Let's take a look at AEO. So main thing I'm seeing here on AEO is we've got some support just below where we're at right now, at about 1670. So you can see there was resistance right here, here, right here, here, right here as well, and then we broke over that, and you can see we saw a really nice move to the upside. Now we're coming back down to our first retest, which is going to line up okay with this 200-day moving average. So it's kind of a make or break. Well, I don't want to say that. This is where I would want to see AEO bounce at to continue its upside movement. Okay. Next, let's take a look at WWAV. It's different than stocks commonly discussed here. Okay. AV. This is true. So I'm sure there was some kind of acquisition news or something like that. Typically when you see a big gap up and then a sideways trading here, that's what it was. I don't need to know what it was. I'm not really interested in trading this because of this inactivity. This is just nothing right here. Okay, we're moving in and out of $1 for about 3 months. So let's look at the weekly time frame and see if we're above any kind of level. So biggest thing I'm seeing here on the weekly time frame is this uptrend line. That's really the only thing that I'm seeing of interest on this chart here. So if we somehow get a drop down to maybe $45, that could be a buy zone here for WWAV. All right, let's take a look at GRLD. GRLD. Okay, that's nothing's coming up for me there, so that's all right. I'll move on to the next one. HLX is the next one I'll look at. All right, so HLX. Trading in a box here, $9 resistance, about 60, 70 is going to be support. A break over this $9 will send us to about $12. So why is that? Well, because we're trading in this box, building up energy. If we break it to the upside, we're going to see an upside move. If we break this 200-day moving average below, let's call it 650, and the 200-day moving average, should see a downside move. So look for either of those. AIRG. Alright, not really seeing anything here on AIRG. TTD is the next one I'll look at. Alright, I'll move on to the next one. ACIA. So ACIA, trading in a box here between about 127 and about $96. So if we break either direction of this box, should see a bigger move in either direction. I'm not really that interested in taking it as a short, so if it breaks below that level right here, I wouldn't really be interested in shorting it. And why is that, you ask? If it's a short signal, well, for one thing, we're in a bull market. For another thing, this is a technology stock, which is the most bullish sector in this bullish market. Another thing is, this is one of the most bullish stocks at the moment here. So typically, when you have all those three things combined, a short setup will tend to fail, okay? So it won't work out. Whereas with all these three things combined, if it breaks to the upside, then it's going to be a really nice play to the upside, and more than likely that play is going to be a nice play, and it will follow through. So that 127 break up here, a close over that level, should see a nice move to the upside. Next, let's take a look at NOV. So NOV here, this is one that I did like here, right around $33. I personally was not able to get in because I had my auto order in for calls here at $33, and as you can see, the low here was $33.04. So I did not get in, but a lot of my members were able to get in, and they profited nicely on this 2-day move up here and took some profits up here. But overall on this chart, this looks pretty decent here. We've got this uptrend line right here, right here, right here, here. So retest lower against that trend line should get a bounce. We're broken over the 200-day moving average solidly. You know, over here we kind of chipped over it for a couple weeks, but over here we've been over it for quite some time. You can see it's kind of curling up right there as well. So overall, this stock looks pretty decent, and we still have this resistance up here at about 36.50, and then that support from this uptrend line right here. Next, let's take a look at OPK. OPK resistance up here at about 11.50 right here, and then we've got this uptrend line as support down here, and those are the three main things I'm seeing on OPK. Next, let's take a look at SDRL. Not seeing a whole lot of opportunity here on SDRL. Not really interested in it. All right, last but not least, BVX. So BVX, not trying to hindsight trade, but this is definitely, pretty nice breakout here over this downtrend line right here. You can see we saw a really nice move to the upside since then. So I'm going to look at the weekly time frame and see if there's any levels that I can see right here. So over these highs right there, about 450. But then, we're getting up to a pretty big area of resistance. You can see by this volume by price area right here, that volume by price bar. A lot of thick areas right here. It's not super clean. I don't have a very good read on it, but we're over these highs, so that's bullish. We've got a lot of volume coming into it, so that is bullish as well. Really, you want to see about $4 to $4.50 hold on this stock right here. If it doesn't hold, I wouldn't really be interested in owning it any longer. Thank you guys for watching and giving me the opportunity to go over these charts with you. If you have any questions, you can reach me at the contact box at the bottom of my website, www.thetradinganalyst.com, or you can send me a message on here. Either way is fine. I'd love to chat with you. Have a great night, and I will see you next time.